All right, I'm going to do a quick video before it gets dark here about a very interesting topic. This guy in Australia who claims he's Jesus and his partner says that she's Mary. And I'm going to read you a little bit about a discussion I had with AI about this. How did I find out? How did I come across this? Well, I was in Goodwill the other day here on the Big Island, and I found these books, Angelic Revelations of Divine Truth. Sorry, let's see if I can put it in. Okay, volume 1 and 2, right? And these are from the Foundation Church of Divine Truth, and they are the channeled writings of a man named Padgett. Let me give you the full name. James E Padgett, and he was actually an attorney in the Washington D.C. area. This is about 100 years ago, actually, and he channeled a bunch of writings, some from messages from Jesus, and they're very similar, not exactly the same, but similar to the Course, A Course in Miracles. And then it turns out that the guy in Australia relies on these writings, right? These writings from Padgett are what he refers to in his mission as Jesus. He claims to be Jesus. And so let's just talk about Alan Miller, his name, A.J. Miller. So I asked, what does AI say about Alan Miller, who claims to be Jesus? And AI says, this is Google AI, right? Gemini. When prompted with the question, what does AI say about Alan Miller, who claims that he is Jesus, and AI would synthesize it. Okay. AI does not have a personal opinion or belief system, but would report on the public perception and documented facts surrounding Alan John A.J. Miller, an Australian man who founded the Divine Truth movement. Right. This is Divine Truth. This mission is called Divine Truth. So Alan Miller seems to be in this tradition of this guy, right, who channeled these writings. Key information from AI synthesis, and AI would produce a summary of the facts and criticisms surrounding A.J. Miller, emphasizing that his claims are considered false by the vast majority of people, especially religious scholars and experts on cults. Okay, that's the first thing. People don't believe his claims. Founder of Divine Truth, A.J. Miller is the leader of a new religious movement called Divine Truth, based in Queensland, Australia. His partner, Mary Suzanne Luck, claims to be the reincarnation of Mary Magdalene. Most people would write this off immediately and say, no, it's another cult. Controversial claims. Miller and Luck allege that they lived in the 1st century and remember the crucifixion, with Miller claiming to be the reincarnation of Jesus. They teach that God's love can be received to transform the soul, and that this atonement is the state Jesus achieved. So they actually use the word atonement, but they use it as atonement, which is interesting. And we are going to talk about atonement, maybe not in this video, but we're going to talk about Padgett's understanding of atonement in light of A Course in Miracles, just comparing the two. Criticism from cult experts. Experts in cults and religious movements have expressed concern over Miller's teachings and activities. The group has been called a cult, and Miller has been accused of controlling his followers, who have reportedly sold their homes and properties to move closer to him. Lack of evidence. A.J. Miller has been challenged to provide evidence for his claims, such as performing miracles or speaking Aramaic, the language spoken by Jesus. He has been unable to produce such evidence. That doesn't necessarily disqualify him in my book, but others might consider that to be disqualifying. Prophecies have failed. Miller made apocalyptic predictions of 100-meter tsunamis and other global catastrophes for the period between 2011 and 2013. These prophecies failed to materialize. That's a little bit more damning, I think. Public and media perception. Many news outlets, online forums, and religious commentators have reported on Miller with deep skepticism, often portraying his claims as outlandish and noting the lack of evidence. Now, the thing about this kind of thing, and I'm not saying it's not true, I have serious doubts about it, but all you need is a group of people that are willing to believe you, and then you have your cult, you have your movement, right? Um, who cares if the rest of the world doesn't believe you, right? You at least you got your, I don't want to say suckers, but you got your people that will follow you. And even if you're not Jesus, and even if she's not Mary, maybe you have a nice group of people to hang out with. Let's go on. Maybe not. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're not a nice group. I don't know. I thought there was more to this. Let's just do a quick search here. A.J. Miller. You can look this up too. There's a bunch of articles out there. Vice did an article on him. A.J. Miller. Born February 21st, 1989. So he's relatively young. Is an American. No, sorry, this is not A.J. Miller. This is called Divine Truth. Is a controversial new religious movement based in Queensland, Australia. Taught by Alan John Miller, also known as AJ, who claims to be the reincarnation of Jesus of Nazareth, and his partner Mary Suzanne Luck, who claims to be the reincarnation of Mary Magdalene. The couple described Divine Truth as non-religious. Critics accuse the couple of running a cult. Alan John Miller was born on March 10th, 1963 in all right, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Alan and Mary both claim that prior to their current lives on Earth, they each have lived only a single life on Earth, which began around the beginning of the 1st century AD and then continued for 1900 plus years in the spirit world or other dimensional spaces after their deaths on Earth in the 1st century. They state that during their existence in the spirit world, they continued to grow and learn and were able to discover a process by which they could return to Earth. Miller calls the return process reincarnation, although his conception differs substantially from most other philosophies of reincarnation. Miller claims that divine truth is God's truth, which is the absolute truth about the universe and everything inside of it from the perspective of God. He clearly defines divine truth as non-religious, saying, quote, "It is always logical, it is always scientific in its nature, it is always mathematical in its nature, it is always based in reality, but not human reality. It's the reality of how God sees everything." Miller teaches that he has discovered it through forming a personal relationship with God, and he teaches that divine truth can be discovered by any person through the same process. Divine truth teachings include information about God and God's nature, the nature of the human soul, its growth and potentials, how to have a relationship with God, what is loving from God's perspective, how to become a more loving individual, life after death, spirits in the spirit world, and the laws that govern the operation of the universe. Several of Miller's teachings are very similar to teachings found in the True Gospel Revealed Anew by Jesus, 4 volumes, 1940 to 1972, a collection of material which has been dictated, actually was dictated between 1914 and 1922 via a form of automatic writing through lawyer and medium James Edward Padgett, who lived 1852 to 1923. This material allegedly had been communicated directly to Padgett by Jesus and by several other discarnate spirits who were also highly spiritually advanced. The prayer for divine love on the Divine Truth website was originally dictated to Padgett on December 2nd, 1916. Miller claims that since he is Jesus, he gave most of the information contained within the Padgett messages to James Padgett. So, sounds bizarre, right? Sounds crazy, but I'm taking it seriously because I take the Course in Miracles seriously, and why wouldn't I take this seriously as well? But we're going to continue with this in another video. It's getting dark here, and we'll do a second video soon where I talk about the Padgett material, and I'll talk more about Miller as well. I hope this was interesting. I would love to hear your thoughts, and be well, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you.